M.M Out here, over there, everywhere, all over the place, right here.
Yes, sir.
Part 2. It's an apostle, the apostle Leroy Scanbury, and very, very scintillating conversation. Now, we touched on education in the first section. Now, in part 2, I also received lots of comments from some youngsters, and I was amazed at how many youngsters did not know about the boundary cutting in St. Peter.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
These are people who actually believe that Roadview, Ashton, those areas were always,
In St. James North.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were amazed. In fact, some guys challenged me that we were misleading them.
Right.
So I had to go back into history
Right.
and actually show them.
Yep.
And I think that people should be actually educated about these sort of things
That's correct.
because
That's
they
correct.
can easily be misled.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And some of them, they've clearly seen that St. Peter used to be a fair parish
It used to be a fair parish. Yeah.
and it's now not.
Yeah.
And some of them have said that they want to know how foolish the Democratic Labour Party could have been that the Barbados Labour Party changed the boundaries and then they came into power and they did not change it back. I myself find that very, very ridiculous.
That's also shocking to me, personally.
Yeah,
Shocking. Very shocking.
yeah. Well, like me, the first thing that I would have done was to change them back.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There's no way that a person like Colin Jordan, even Jordan should be beating someone like 3,000 votes.
Yeah.
And that's or getting 5,000 votes in one ballot.
Yeah.
Right? Our solution for that would be to let's have a St. Peter North and a St. Peter South or something like that.
That's what we could have had the St. Peter North, St. Peter South. But to divide the parish the way it was then by the Electoral and Boundaries Commission under the Barbados Labour Party was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was a major travesty. I think it also was a major turning point in electoral outcomes in St. Peter after that. So many individuals in St. Peter are of the opinion that St. Peter people always vote BLP. That's not true.
Yes, but the youngsters who, as I said, are not au fait with the history of electoral voting in St. Peter.
So, one of the things that is done to St. Peter people, it has also made the people of St. Peter unfair. Okay? It has changed the synaptic consciousness of people in St. Peter. So, the guy said, stupidity is to plant the same seed and expect a different harvest.
Yes, yes.
That's what stupidity is.
Again, the apostles is something new.
So again, we have the people in St. Peter saying, well, I met one guy when I was joining the campaign. He came to, I just knocked and came to his door, and I introduced myself. I told him what party I was running with. He said, there's only one thing to do in Barbados, one thing to do in St. Peter. I said, what's that? He said, elect the Barbados Labour Party. I said, fine. Well, I know the gentleman, okay? Turned around, walked away. So I know him, so his wife got laid off in the first batch of people who got retrenched.
That is the same guy who said there's only one thing to do.
That's what he said to me.
But the one thing that to do was the one thing that they did. That was to lay off your wife.
Yeah, go on. And so when I saw him now, I said to him, what are you saying now? How are things with you? And he just shrugged his shoulders, because a lot of people have to understand the future of Barbados is very, very important. Matter of fact, I was listening to a clip from a gentleman who was being interviewed in the United Arab Emirates, and he made a very, 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 powerful statement. He said, we have oil, but we don't have agriculture, we don't have mining, we don't have other natural resources, we don't have gold, we don't have diamonds, we don't have any. So why are we prospering like this? And he said the reason why we're prospering like this is because we have the right leadership. And I think it's also very critical for individuals to understand going forward, we need right leadership in Barbados.
Yes. And talking about right leadership, What are our ministers doing? I don't see any of them doing anything that's worthwhile except talking. I don't see anything done physically.
Well, let me also say this, that, you know, in talking with some individuals, because one of the things that I do as an individual is that it doesn't matter whether you're B or D. If you want to engage me in conversation, or if I believe I need to engage you in conversation, I'll do that. I had the opportunity to meet individuals during my campaign. As a matter of fact, the first time that I went out into politics, I had the opportunity to meet with individuals that you probably would never have the opportunity to meet if I had just kept doing my ministry. But one of the things that I'm beginning to realize, and what the Barbados Liberal Party is beginning to encounter, is that it's beginning to encounter the anger of the people of Barbados. Okay? And they're now being confronted with the reality of all of the things that we said we were going to do while we were campaigning. We obviously can't do those things. Okay? So, you know, it's difficult to make a promise to someone and then recant on that promise. I think this is what they're meeting right now.
Well, a perfect example is the shadow Attorney General, who is the Attorney General now. He used to have a lot to say about the debate, and during the debates about what is to be done and what should be done,
Right.
and what. Since he has become Attorney General, there've been more shootings than ever.
Yeah.
Crime has gone up more than 50%
Right.
under his watch. In fact, I have heard people saying that Dale Marshall should resign.
Interesting comment. You know, I'll tell you this about what I found out about Barbados. I met a gentleman, he's passed now, top lawyer in Barbados. And he called me, got my number and called me and said, I want to meet with you. And so I went to his office, and he, you know, during the conversation, he was inquiring, you know, why I went into the political arena and so on and so forth. Then we got into the conversation. He said to me, he said, you know, everything that you are saying is true, and even though I know that Barbados needs change, he says, unfortunately, I can't help you because my knighthood is coming up in 2 years.
His knighthood
is coming up in 2 years. So, and I said, so you prefer your knighthood over making your country better for the people. And that's when I began to realize Barbados is governed by a very heavy elitism mindset.
But that is also a selfish mindset from him.
Yeah.
Because if you truly deserve a knighthood,
Yeah.
you will get it,
Yeah.
regardless of what you say.
He died before that.
Okay, so you didn't get the
Yeah.
knighthood.
So, you know, that was something that was very, very, very shocking. But one of the things that I was really began to understand in Barbados is that when you are working class, you have no power in Barbados. You have absolutely no power. You're not listened to when you're in the working class. The other thing that I found out about Barbadians is that Barbadians will not ever protest. Okay? I think we lost that power in 1937 with those riots, when our forefathers in Barbados had the right idea. Okay? Since that time, we've had trade confirmers. And, you know, government came and said, okay, don't, you know, just settle down, we'll take care of it for you. Never put anything in place for the people.
Because
now CLICO comes, same situation. Settle down, we'll fix things for you. It's the same principle over and over again. In order to stop things, you have to give people their rights. Whenever you realize that your rights are being infringed on, even from a governmental level, you have to say
especially
something.
from a governmental level.
So I go back to what I've said here before. When the government fears the people, Thomas Jefferson,
Yes.
there's liberty. When
And let me finish this one.
Yeah.
And when the people fear the government, there's tyranny.
That's right.
See, I got it down pat.
You got it covered.
I got it down pat.
You got it covered.
But I'm always an advocate of this. Protest. No violence.
Yeah.
Protest.
Non-violent protest.
Protest. And I also repeat this again. Why keep quarreling about the bus fare?
Yeah.
All that you have to do is nobody take the bus
Yeah.
for an entire week.
And
It can't be any harder than what's happening now.
Yeah.
Stay home.
Yeah.
Walk to work.
Okay.
Don't take the bus, and you will see that $3.50 will go back to $2.
Right. Well, I spoke to a gentleman recently, even with the whole banking system, you can actually see, if you're cautious enough, you can see that the banking system is collapsing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The banking system is collapsing. So they're not all over. I asked someone, well, why isn't there Scotia Bank in Spikestown? Why is there not this? Why is there not that in Spikestown? They said it's too far to maintain.
But you want to know something?
It's
But
shocking.
I have one for you. They just moved the major bank from Old Town, which is a tourist hub,
Yeah.
and took it to Warren's.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
can you imagine that?
That's the kind of activity. Now, when you look at what's going on in the banking system, I don't mean to get off what we're saying, but you have an account there. Every month they're taking money off your account to service your account. If you use your ATM card, they're taking money from you. Okay? If you go to the counter to do a transaction, they're taking money from you. Then they're giving you 0.01% interest, so you're basically getting nothing. You might as well have your money in an old biscuit tin at home.
Yeah, but talking about that, right? Is there some law or some rule or something that these banks have to come from overseas? Like the Royal Bank of Canada, the Bank of Nova Scotia, the CIBC. Is that a rule?
Well, the reality is that the three banks, three of the banks that we have in Barbados are Canadian based. One of the reasons for that, I believe, and I'm speaking under correction, is that our money is created in Canada. By De La Rue, okay? So
yeah, De La Rue is based in
Canada.
Okay,
so
okay.
a lot of our money is created there. So I think one of the things that we have to look at, Mr. Morris, as we make progress again, you cannot be a nation if you don't have your own bank, which is critical. I'll say that again. There's no if you don't want to have the Barbados National Bank, then get the National Bank of Barbados. But our people need to have someone governing and helping their money to make progress.
Yeah, because these guys make tremendous profit.
I mean, billions.
Tremendous profit.
Billions of dollars.
So even they put guys and women and men here to manage these banks and so on, and they think they're really making money. They're making nothing compared to what the other guys really make. Right? They may feel prestigious and so on, but bank managers here are just glorified tellers, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, one of the things that I like about the fact that Barbados is one of those countries that, as long as the country exists, it is a place for potential investment. You can't take that away from Barbados. It is a place for potential investment. But the reality is that you must have the right people to handle those investments when they come.
Well, that's a very fine point. I tend to be sort of nationalistic about a lot of things, right? And I hate to see us, people of Barbados, being stepped upon by people from overseas. White people I'm talking about, right? It happens all the time. They get a little job. There's a restaurant number me, right? And people who work there, they're like scared of the guy that owns it, and
Well, let's go back to one of the reasons why there's the certain sector of the commercial, financial hierarchy in Barbados that needs both of these parties to work. Because in many cases,
you're talking about the syndicates.
Yeah, they finance both sides of the parties, and with that, they get. It doesn't matter which party comes in, they're going to get to do the work. They're going to get work. Okay.
Apostle, I have to cut you short. Our time is up.
Wow, that's amazing.
It runs so fast at the Apostle.
Yeah.
Thanks
you so
for
much
being
again,
here.
Mr. Morris, man.
M.M Out here, over there, everywhere, all over the place, saying bye for now. That's the end of part 2, and we'll see you again soon.
Yes, sir. Look
Thank you,
forward to
sir.
it. Bless you.